not working. It is working. Testing, testing. 1, 1, 1. Testing, testing. 1, 1, 1.
We gotta go.
Nick, you're early. Well, I'm early too anyway, so. You know, because you can see Ray walking in the background. There you go. Alright, gonna get this started pretty soon. Bear in mind, I'm actually still using the program for iOS from made by Teradek, which is actually pretty good software. I'm using 2 cameras, so you can see it from one camera angles. I can switch to the other camera angles like this. That's my iPhone, and the one before is my iPad Pro. So we're gonna start on some and make sure John doesn't get in my way because he's about to jump in onto the table. Oh, look. He's blocking our view right now. There's his body. He's blocking the view. Bruce? Really? All right. Get this started. So, for anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is Johnny Wu. I'm a filmmaker here in Cleveland, Ohio. I've been making movies since 1998. About at least 10 of my films that I produced and directed has been distributed worldwide. And thanks, David. And so I've been fortunate enough that they've been making some money and doing some work. I've done lots of short films too. If you go to IMDb, you definitely can see a whole list of stuff I've been doing. So it's kind of plenty of work to do. So for this one, it's the first test using iPad Pro and iPhone 8 Plus to do a 2 camera angle shot and be able to cut between them. So you can see there, oh, one camera is frozen. Okay, back now. I'm coughing a little bit because I have allergies attack a couple of weeks ago, and then cough is always there. No, I do not have the COVID-19 virus. I've been home almost 10 days now, and nothing happened here, so I'm pretty decent and good. So I'm gonna do about this talk. What happened in the past was I've been doing lots of directing and casting, directing, and working with different actors and crew. Probably maybe over 30 or so projects. The ones that I directed, some of them I helped produce, and so on and so on. And there's always an issue with cast and crew and on set because there's a common knowledge about, sometimes they don't have the common sense, or sometimes because they're too excited about being there and they forget about the proper ethic that you need to do in the film set. So what I have going to do here, I'm going to do a really quick review about things that I think should do and don'ts on the set, and then I'm going to go through that line by line and work it out. So you probably see that more than you see my face, which is probably better. So the first one, basically speaking, you are cast or crew. You need to be able to communicate with your director or your production company or the production that you're working with. For example, if you get an email ahead of time, respond to the email, say you got it, or if you have a question about the script or the code sheet, let them know right away. Don't wait until the last minute because usually that'll be a problem with that. So if there's a meeting going on and there's some kind of a conference call or get together to talk about the script or the dialogues or the storyline and so on, you also try to make your best to be participating. And when we talk about crew-wise, not all the crews need to be participating. When we talk, only mostly the most important ones, like the DP, the producer probably should probably be there. The director obviously had to be there. The key grip and AC and so on. So the more important crew members should be there. And cast-wise, obviously the main cast and the supporting cast to be in the conference call to help a lot more. That helped in the sense of me as a director be able to work with you and understanding what's going on. Feel free to ask any question you have up there, so I can read it and can respond right away. So obviously, if there's rehearsals, you will do your best to be at attend. In theater world, in the world of theaters, all the actors will actually go. Here he comes again. Judge is going to come to attack. That's how he is. So if you have a rehearsal, obviously it's good to attend and work with the actors and your peers, and also make sure that your delivery is correct the way the director wanted to. So it's very not easy for the director to be able to do it on the day off, because they'll be so busy doing stuff. So the best thing to do is to work and make it work best. And for my scenario, for example, I do a lot of action films. So we do a lot of martial art action films, and we do a lot of rehearsals, and we have a lot of people, practicing fighting against each other. So the rehearsal will help them get their techniques done correctly, and at the same time not to get hurt, and do a proper training and coordinate with each other. So at the end, everybody wins. Yep, John want to learn how to be conducting the set. That's why he's now sitting on my lap, because that's how he is. Very spoiled. And one thing very important about with directors, for example, for myself, I always wanted to have my cast and crew come on certain time, and I hope that they actually be there on time. If they cannot make it, obviously it's best to do is let me know that they cannot make it, and ahead of time, not to just do it whenever they feel like it, because that will help me coordinate to see, okay, you couldn't make it on time, so we can try to do other project first, or other part of the scenes, or rehearse their scenes first, and so on and so on. So it's a lot of different things you can do to make it work better. Let's see what else we had to. So one pet piece of mine, and I think a lot of directors will have the same problem, is when you're on set, cast and crew-wise, doesn't matter who you are, and while the crew, let's say for example, the crews are setting up the light for the scene, and the actors are doing nothing besides rehearsing the line. Then you sometimes have actors who say, oh, I'm doing this project, I'm doing that project, and started to talk about their projects right there in that moment. The problem with that is you're distracting the people that are working, because all the crew members will be listening to you talking too. At the same time, you actually take away the interest from the crew and the cast to work on the project. The cast need to rehearse the line, but yet you're talking about the project, other project that you're involved with. Make it very much a very uneasy moment. This happened a couple of times on my set. And what I usually do with them is I ask them, say, hey, you know what? Go talk about your project at lunchtime or at the end of the day, but don't do it right there in the moment. We have a crew member in my past feature films who is no longer hanging out with us now, obviously. He liked to talk about his project all the places and try to recruit cast and crew for his project during my set, while we are filming or while not doing the break, while we're filming or while we're doing setup. And that really annoyed the heck out of me. So that's not something that I would like to recommend anybody do, because it's not a good idea to do that. So another problem we have is, and this is probably something else a lot of extra do. So they go to your set, they're waiting forever, and sometimes they are so hungry they eat everything on the table that's for from the caterer, and that drives me crazy, because sometimes they forget about there's other people they need to eat. There was one time we have one cast extras. She decided to take a bunch of stuff home so she can eat at home, besides being there on set, and she only need to be on set for 2 hours. So I yell at her, I say, you have other people need to eat too. There's other important cast and crew members who need to be having this stuff, and you're taking the opportunity for them away. She didn't care, so I will never gonna work with her anymore in the future, that's for sure. The other thing I noticed about is a lot of cast and crew like to leave things all over the places. I understand that you have your bottle of water and that you need to drink, but sometimes try to remember where you put it and just leave it. No, don't leave it all over the places. I have people who left their drinking water, the bottle, half empty or half full, rather, whatever you say it. Think about it, and they just leave it all over the places. So at the end of the day, they just walk away and forget about clean up after them. So that's something I really remember, that filmmakers wise, either your cast and crew, clean up after yourself. One other pet piece I have a problem with is, this happens a lot. I know sometimes all the actors or crew, they have other projects going on, maybe the same day. Excuse me. So they would come to my set early in the morning while we're too busy setting up. The first thing they ask me is, hey, do you know when we're going to finish today? And I usually say, I don't know, because you never know. On the set, like in any action movie set, you don't have the luxury to know when you're going to finish. Ideally, you want to finish in 8 to 10 hours, but sometimes you may go to 12 hours. So you never know. Excuse me. So there's problem with that is, people thinks that we had a great idea how exactly going to work, and they expect us to work, they're giving the time, and when they are not happy with the time that was set, let's say that I say to one cast or crew, I say, hey, yeah, we probably will wrap up by 10 o'clock. So this person would think that exactly at 8 o'clock we'll wrap. And if we go over, this person gets extremely upset and pissed off, because now this person cannot go to the next set and work on another project. And this is problem some with me, because you come into my set, you're trying to be part of my project, and I'm doing my best to get you to be involved. And at the same time, understanding that you're my project, you pay or not pay, you need to do your best to accommodate for that day of the shot. Unfortunately, they don't, because they think that they have other things to do. So those are some of the things, and I'm going to keep going a little quickly more. The next part of it. We also have actors or cast, and this happened to me with crew members too. So I sent out a script for the crew to study, and they don't actually read the script. So they come to the set and expect me to explain to them what's happening in the scene. That happened to me a bunch of times with crews. Yes, I understand you're busy, everything else, but at least take a day or 2 days beforehand to read through that scene that you're going to be involved with. But that doesn't happen to me a lot, unfortunately. With cast-wise, actually more important that they should probably know their lines. If they're prepared for the scene or know their lines, we spend a lot more time to work it out before we actually shoot it. Then we delay everybody to be able to go home early. You hear John's crying now because I'm not giving him attention. Filmmaking is a collaborative effort. So everybody need to work together to make it possible. It's not just the director say do this, but the director have the vision, require the DP, the AC to help make it work, the lighting guy. And then we need also the actor to make it work. So without all this together, it's not going to happen. And if you think that you're more important than anybody else, then that's an issue, because you're not. And everybody is equally important on the set. And so you do your best to make that work. Don't change the script lines or the script direction or the story direction or the scene because the day before, because you feel like it and you feel like it doesn't work. I do have a few actors and also happen to a few crew that they'll come to me the day of the shoot. They say, Johnny, I don't think this is going to work. And my question to them is, why? And then they will explain to me why. And then my next question then was, how come you didn't take a look at this beforehand? And the answer sometimes, usually, most of the time was, because I didn't have time to do it until yesterday. So you expect me to change all my environment because you think this will work well, and you didn't tell me ahead of time. So now I had to figure out how to do this the right way that you want me to do it, wasting everybody's time. That's not going to happen. And so obviously we're not going to take that advice or suggestions. Other thing we notice about cast and crew does a lot of time is they like to complain. They will complain about, like I'm complaining right now about certain people, but I don't name names. But the day of the shoot on the set, you can have cast and crew complain about this and that person, this and that other set. It's okay to do that, but just remember that we are in a small world and community, and in every city, every places you go, the filmmakers know each other. So it's going to be hard to them not to gossip. So whatever you say in one set, it most likely will happen to the rest where people know about it, and so everybody will hear about it, and it's not really a good idea, right? So don't do things that you don't think that you'll. Don't do things that will come back to bite you in the ass. That's probably the best way to do it. So I just mentioned about the first part of it. Don't go to the director and suggest framing, etc. That's another thing that happened. I'll be shooting a set. In my filmmaking environment, I like to use multiple cameras because I like to be able to control the environment and get it done fairly quickly because most of the action sequences. And so we have certain way to framing and a certain way to do certain things. And sometimes it just irked me a little bit by having an actor or cast or crew come to me and say, by the way, this camera is wrong. Especially when an actor come to me and say that, you should frame it this way. So I wonder whether or not the movie is a director's vision or the actor's vision at that point. So obviously, I will be polite to say, no, thank you. But once in a while, I will be a little bit frustrated because I'm busy trying to figure out the scene and trying to make this scene work in the sense of how we can get the best out of it within a short time period. And then you have all these different voices around your ears and tell you, you should do this way, you should do that way, you should do this way, you should do that way. Everybody have an opinion. But in a film set, you should probably remember where you stand. Don't be the actor who thinks that you know better than anybody else. Don't be the crew that thinks that you know better than anybody else. Because you have a job to do, I have a job to do, let's do our job instead of just overlapping doing everybody's job at the same time. So that's that. The next one, stay where you are put. This actually from a friend of mine, another filmmaker, that she experienced. She said that she was on the set, and the director told them all to be certain places and to stay in a certain area and so on and so on. But because in this scene there was one of the A-list celebrity was going to be in it, this scene. Which one do you talk about? Do these things happen a lot? David, you asked a question about things about, yeah, this work happen a lot. I have been a lot of different set and experienced a lot of this happening all the time. Old school filmmakers, when we used to learn how to shoot in films back in the 98 and before, you don't have that kind of problem majority of the time. But now there seems to be everybody can pick up a camera and shoot, so that happens a lot more. So going back to what my friend was saying about, so there was an A-list celebrity involved, an actor involved in this scene, and lagging, huh? Sorry about that. Nothing I can do about that. Sorry. So the actors are all lined up to a certain way the director wanted, but wanted the actor, because she wanted to be closer to the celebrity, she pushed everybody away and pushed herself into the scene, the part closer to. So it's hey, not much I can do about that. And unfortunately, that is a big no-no, because the director noticed that and actually let the person go, because the person become more intrusive than need to be. So do your best to be on the set, follow the direction. If you don't follow the direction, you may get cut out or you may get asked to leave. He's typing the same thing, lagging. Okay, let's see what else. So this happened to me once, and I don't think I want to I would not work with a person like that. Most of my set are low budget, and so we have a lot of cast and crew that work for almost nothing and try to do their best to be part of the scene. But sometimes when you ask them to do something, or you got in an argument with one of the actor or crew-wise, and they say this to you, they said, I did all this for you for free. Why don't you give me some slack? The funny thing part of it is we all did this for free. We all take our time out to do this. So if I had to give you some slack, maybe you should give slack to everybody else that's being involved too. And again, this doesn't happen very often. This one actually happened maybe one or twice in my lifetime that I've been involved in filmmaking. So I think I should be happy about that. Relaxed and happy. Let's see what else I have here. Any questions so far before I go to the next part of it? Okay. So no matter what the role you are, small or large, you serve a story. So make sure you will be part of the story. And if you're a lead and supporting talent, it is your responsibility as well. For this one, the second part of it, this one is about whether or not you help promote the movie. And this happened a lot to lots of independent film where lots of cast or crew, they feel like they only need to be on set, help you make this happen, and that's it. And they don't care about going out there and help promote your set or your movie project. So for example, let's say we have a film project going on and then we finish it up, and then we will start to go to promote this movie. All the places we want to have the cast and crew to help promote it. Apparently most of this cast and crew will not do it because they feel like it's not their obligation. And I have some director tell me that it is not their responsibility, cast and crew responsibility wise, to help promote the movie. So in the back of my mind, I felt like if we all work together to make this happen, would it be also our responsibility to help promote it so it actually gets seen all over the places and not just the director or the producers? Maybe it's better to have everybody promote it, so the more people see it, the more chance it is to make money, right? And speaking of that, making money, in the future I'll be doing one about how to make a project that can actually see some return of investment. So for that point, it's up to you. I know some of the directors feel like it's not anybody's responsibility beside themselves. So it's something that you have to think about how to work it out. Right, let's see what else I have there. Film might get into, or if the film makes into the film festival, yes, I will imagine that you want to promote the film and help support the film. You will go and pay the fees to go to the film festival and attend it to support it, make it look like there's a lot of people seeing it. Every film festival you attend, or you be able to make it, and you participate in your own project, shows that there's a lot more people have interest and support. That means that other people will talk about it and say, "Oh my God, such and such film got a premiere this festival, and everybody went in there, and everybody watched it." So that's a good feeling for the director, producer themselves, as well as for the film festival to know that your film, the person film, the project that you brought into the festival, can bring money. Which means in the future, if a filmmaker want to make another movie, that film festival most likely will say, yes, let's get it in there too, because we know last time they brought a lot of people into the festival show, the screening of their films. So that's something to think about. I do know a lot of filmmakers, some of them disagree with me with that part, but hey, who knows? Lost feed. All right. We're going to move forward a little bit more. Let's see what else I have here. My internet cut. I'm frozen too. So I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on in my system here. It's freezing up, so. Maybe just disable that. I know why. I think I tried to do the chat on my iPad thing too, so it's not working 100% that way. So let's do it. I got 4 more things to go here, and then feel free to ask me questions anytime you want to, and we can go from there. So like the first one said, small or large roles you serve the story well, you should be proud and help promote it. Okay, I did talk about this. Then I should cut into the next one. This is very important, and this is the last slide of the conversation I have. I'm a minority because I'm Asian American. At the same time, I try to bring lots of minority people together and diversify my cast and crew to make it work. And I know there's sometimes you are not in that kind of environment that you have enough cast and crew. So one thing that is very important on set is, you can make jokes, you can make fun of things, but try to be refined to be using some racist or sexist or any type of jokes that may being counterproductive on set. It's always important to be productive and respectful. So hopefully that's something to think about. I guess video feed lost. Can you see me now or no? Don't know.
Okay.
Oops. Siri. So let's see how about next one. Okay. The last two one, don't act like you're better than anybody else, because you are not. I'm not better than anybody else. I just happen to have some knowledge here that I'm sharing with you. That doesn't mean that you need to follow them. If you don't like them, just say screw you, Johnny. If you like them, give me a thumbs up, and that's cool. So that's it. I mean, the last one, actually the same thing. Don't go to the camera person and tell them what to do or how to frame better. I just talked about that earlier. So that's about it. Any question for me so far? Hey, I only talked about half an hour. I'm already tired of talking. So this is a pretty cool software. I'm actually use Wi-Fi, and then all my iPads are connected to the power source, so I don't drain the battery so quickly. But I know for a fact there is 11 watchers. Kind of cool. Some lag that's going on because I'm using Wi-Fi, and kind of between the two different cameras. That is the one you're seeing right now is the iPhone 8 Plus, and the other one I'm using right now, the cut into it, is the front one, which is the above me kind of thing. You can see my nose and everything else. Yeah. All right, so thank you guys for watching. If you have any question, ask me. No questions so far, or still lagging? It's lagging, so right. Hey David, my movie from Akron unfortunately got postponed a little bit just because the coronavirus is affecting everybody. So originally we're going to start filming that in early May. We never know now. Everything has been put on hold, and unfortunately potentially that may put on hold a little bit longer, just because I have other projects lined up for end of the year. And again, we'll see what happens. So thanks for the question. David, where are you from? I know everybody else is there from. Hey Aaron J. Khan. Thanks for listening or watching. Yeah. We had to play our social distancing and be at home with a lockdown now until further notice, April 6th in Ohio. So let's hope that we can curve the what do you call it? Flatten the curve and make it work for all of us. Uniontown. I heard of that place, but never been there before. Pretty cool. Close to Akron, right? Tyler, no, spanking is not allowed on set unless it's part of the film set, unless you want to do that. Oh, that's a good question. When you ask the question, what do you do when an actor shows up on set and have lots of line and it's not only prepared? So in my scenario, because we have a lot of camera angles at the same time, and so it's what we also do is, I think that happened to I'm gonna make a final example to Lisa. We can break it down to different parts of it, or if we had a chance to have a cue card, we actually post a cue card in the back of the camera, behind the camera, and because we're cutting between different cameras angles, so we have the front camera here. If she forget her line and she redo it again, we just cut the single camera line, so it'll be this angle, for example, and then she'll be talking, and then we have to cut back again. We can cut back the next line there again. So that'll be consistency where never can be lost, and then you have different way to cut between angles and such. At the same time, that will help in the sense of the actor don't have to memorize the whole line. We do have some actors pretty good at it. One of the examples would be Kyle Zamanek. He can memorize a monologue completely and run through no problem. Oh, Wayne. Okay, this is another question. Have you ever had a crew screw up and not have SD card or forgot to record and missed the filming? In a matter of fact, for the first project I worked on back in 1999 called The Rapture, the first day of shoot, we shot in 3 different cameras on a gymnastic location. The whole morning we have wire work, people flying all back and forth, crazy stuff. And then we shot everything in the HVX 200, which actually use P2 cards. So I asked one of my guys, crew member, to put it onto the computer to dump all the footage. So unfortunately or accidentally, he formatted the card without double checking, and nothing was recorded or saved into the hard drive. So we lost the entire morning of 6-hour work that we had, and we had to redo everything again, and that was crazy stuff to do. But happens that once in a while. Once in a while we had that happen on the set, but not very often. I think that was a big lesson to learn from, and then we try our best to do better. Hey, Sean. Yes, this is a good question. Is there anything you do or send out to your actors ahead of time to help prepare them for the day beside the script, or do you expect them to come in and know the lines? So if you don't have time to have your actors to work together to do a call read, which usually you should, what you also do is talk to them via Facebook, Messenger, phone call, email, explain to them what your vision is about. You send them the script, you send them the character breakdown, you explain to them what you're looking for, and back and forth. And this helps the actors understand what you're looking for. Some actors, for example, they have a hard time with their lines because they're not very used to a certain way of talking. Then you provide them with additional clues and say to them, okay, you can do this over the phone with the actor. You can say, let's run through this line. And you can tell them, I don't think this is the way I envision to do it. I want you to be this way. Be flexible too, because sometimes some actors have a hard time to pronunciate certain words or comfortable with certain lines. They let them be a little more adaptable in the sense of make sure that the line fit the character itself and fit their personality as an actor. Yes, an actor is supposed to be able to act every kind of scenario and so on, but sometimes you have to give him some leeway to understand how the story, how the character is, especially the person background, so they can be able to do the job that you asked them to do for. Hopefully that answers your question. How much rehearsal is common on a dialogue scene? For Parker, we practice almost once a week for 2 months. For Wuxia, we only have a call read, and then I actually talk to each one of the actors back and forth quietly, and then talk to them about their lines. I usually write the story, the character, based on the personality of the person, so they don't really have to act too much, even though they're still acting. So it still works out really well. Another good example, Kyle and the bartender on the Wuxia 2. I told him that I want the person to be a difficult person, different bartender. So everything you saw on screen is actually him making that person much more painful and everybody hates. So let's see. Question 3. I was just about to ask about when you started shooting multi-cameras, but your Rapture totally told me to. So okay, you have no question right now. Ha! Beat you onto it. So let's see what else we can talk about. Thank you, MJK. I just saw your post about Spot on set. I've been fortunate enough to be working on lots of projects and also projects and with lots of different people in Hollywood in the past. So it's as a human being, we had a tendency like to tell people what to do, but sometimes we had to tell ourselves and say, hold back, this is not your project. I was in another Scott project one time. I saw the way he was directing people. I was like, I want to go in there. I want to go in there and tell him, your frame is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. It's not wrong. It's just my vision, my version of what I think is right compared to his version is different. So, but I had to bite my tongue and said, he's the director. I'm just a camera person. So let him do his job. I will do my job. If he needs help, I just give him a hand. That's it. All right. So what's there? What is the most expensive equipment that got destroyed on set, and how was it destroyed? Oh, and who did it? Okay, the most expensive equipment that got broken on my set was the first episode of Trace. It's actually the first gimbal that I had put together myself. It was wires all over the places. We were using it, was working the first 2 takes, and some of the third time when we were trying to use it, we accidentally hit something. I don't even remember what. Somebody's arm, and one of the wire cut off from the gimbal. So the gimbal no longer worked, and I was so mad and pissed because I couldn't get a good shot with that thing and no longer be able to use the gimbal for the rest of the project for the day. So what we had to do is go out there and do everything handheld and do everything with the slider and so on, which actually unfortunately delayed the whole process because I spent about an hour trying to fix the gimbal, whereas everybody's also trying to reset up for everything else without the gimbal for the following shots. That was a scene with Jason running toward Justin and attack Justin on Trace, the first episode. We shot in 2011. Okay, any other question? Lots of quiet time now. There's a lot of time. And now, about who did it, I'm not going to tell you who did it, but just bump into somebody's arm, and then it didn't work. We usually don't have anybody get hurt on set, but usually get hurt off set, which is kind of funny. And of course, shooting all the different action scenes and such, and we always required to have it's my personal opinion, is always to have a safety person involved on set. It's always very important to have that because you never know what's going to happen, and you never know who's going to get hurt on set. So especially when you have a lot of fight sequences, or you have somebody get thrown around, kicking. On Trace, the Doctor Who fan film, we have a whole bunch of people fighting with swords, and all the swords are sharp like hell. So yes, they can actually cut somebody and get hurt. So we had to make sure that we have a medic on set and nothing happened. And rehearsal make a lot of sense. Fight sequence rehearsal may take 2 to 3 months, may take once a week or maybe twice a week to get it done. We are low independent filmmakers, but we're still trying to make it to avoid to the same, make sure everybody's safety is very much number one thing. So you don't have to be afraid. The people don't usually get hurt on set, other than goofing around. For the Rapture, for example, I hit myself on my head with a bow staff because I was goofing around offset and hit myself. Offset, somebody else's feet was run over by a wheelchair. Offset, somebody fell down and hurt himself. That happens a lot. So having a medic on set help a lot. On the Rapture, we have a guy, we'll call him the stunt monkey, because he does all the stunt for us, replacing all the actors who cannot do all the butterfly kicks and so on and so on. So at one point, he actually landed wrongly and hurt himself. And fortunately now we have a medic on board and double checked and said that he can go on, so we go on. My last project, the Trice, unfortunately we did not have a medic because my actors keep claiming they can be better. They don't have to worry about pads and this and that. Sure enough, doing the one of the scene, one of the actors got hurt. Fortunate enough, it's not major, so he can finish the whole set, or whole fight sequence on the day, and then make it work. Anybody interested in seeing my project, you can just go to my YouTube channel again after this, and then check out the films that's listed there. So I think I got another 10 minutes, so let's kill the 10 minutes with something else to talk about. So let me show you some cool stuff you can do with this thing. I can get rid of logo in the background. I can get rid of my name in the background. I can add my logo back in the background. Look at that. it's a very cool program. I did not expect Teradek make this program. It's called Live Air. It's free on iOS only. It's actually do a wonderful job, except for once in a while you have a cutoff, I think, over there. So it's a kind of thing I'm gonna do. Maybe this coming weekend we do something about setting up gimbal stuff, but that's different project thing we have to talk about. So yeah, just rambling here a little bit. No more question for me, huh? So you're back here to give it quickly. On my right, actually on my left, that one. That's the poster for a movie called Inner Self. You can actually see that free on Amazon Prime right now. The one right next to it is Wuxia 2, supposedly coming out by the end of May. It's going to be renamed to call Immortal Kombat: The Code. Right there at the bottom is the price of the short film. Should be on my YouTube channel here. The two behind me are the feature films. One is actually, you can see. Hey David, thank you again for listening, watching me. Hopefully I answered most of the questions for you guys. I think that's it for everybody, since there's no more questions. So we're good. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.